Thank you, Freddie. And good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I am your host, Josh Engel. Today we have the champions, ladies and gentlemen. The state champions. Carrollton High School's debate team. This Friday and Saturday, they competed in the state championship, the debate championship, and guess what? We came out on top. The cream always rises to the top, and here we are with the best of the best. Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all?
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, since we have a full studio, if you're tuning in on Facebook Live, if you aren't, you should. We got the Facebook live stream going on right now on the WLBB Facebook page. If you have any questions or comments for the Carrollton High School debate team, just throw it in there, and I will be sure to read those. This episode will also be uploaded as a podcast after the program, both to this station's website and to gradicommunications.com. So why don't we start off the conversation first with Coach, the inspiration to these guys, Richardrecknell. Good morning, Mr. Brecknell.
Good morning.
You'll just pull that mic up to you, please. There you go. Perfect.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so happy to have the champions here in the studio. So tell us a bit about you, first and foremost.
Well, I have been coaching for a number of years at Carrollton High School. I retired. I came back and to coach the team. I've been doing that for a couple of years.
Now, was debate something that you have participated in since you were in school?
Actually, I did not participate in speech or debate at school. I graduated from Temple High School, and at that time, they did not have that program. When I came to Carrollton, one of the deals was, hey, we need to establish an academic team. So, hey, build us a speech and debate team. And I went, okay. And so the rest is history.
Excellent. So how long has this team been competing?
The team at Carrollton High School has been competing for 31 years. And by the way, some neat history. This is our 12th state championship.
Wow.
And we hold the second highest number of state championships. We're kind of excited about that. Track beats us by several, but we're excited about that. They're keeping the tradition going.
Yeah, carrying that torch on, man. Congratulations. Yeah. That is fantastic. So if you don't mind, kind of give our listeners an idea. Some folks are not as some folks are a bit more averse to public speaking, as we all here in this room tend to be. So they may not know what a debate like this looks like. Could you take listeners through, kind of give them an idea of what one of these state championships are like?
Absolutely. Well, to begin with, there's an agreed upon topic. In public forum, the topics in the first part of the year, we have two. The second half, in the second semester, we start having a topic each month. This particular topic dealt with space and the new Space Force that has just recently been added.
The Guardians.
Yay. And the whole process is looking at it from both sides, from the pro side and the con side. You divide into teams of two, and you present your ideas of what you think is the solid reasons why we should have a Space Force. And then you look at the negative doesn't automatically mean that you don't want a Space Force, but it looks at some of the issues that might arise as a result of having it. And that's the way each topic is. And you're right. A lot of students come into the class who do not want to speak. They don't want to even give their name out. But, it's like everything else. The more you practice, the better you get. They were not state champions when they first came in ninth grade, but they definitely, had the potential. So it's been a tremendous amount of practice and research, and so here they are, state champions.
State champions.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the 12th time for Carrollton High School. So
yes.
Now, would you say that it is imperative that members of the team are put in a position to think critically like that, because they are in a position to be fair and to give both the pros and cons?
Right. I think that oftentimes when you're hearing people expressing their opinions and their ideas, that they haven't thought through, and they haven't thought, both sides of the issue. It's okay to be very autocratic with what you believe in. and support it. But I think you're a far better person if you are willing to listen to both sides and then to make logical, reasonable assumptions based on that. I think you'll just be a better everything, father, son, mother, daughter, and then especially when you're existing in a society, if you're willing to listen to opinions and formulate ideas. And I hope that's what the team really gains from this program. Not that they become experts on anything, but that they learn how to assess issues and come up with reasonable solutions.
I love that. That's very, very well said.
Thank you.
And very imperative. Now, is there any, we have some comments rolling in here. We have from Casey Hardigy, Brack Daddy. I don't know if that's a nickname.
My debaters affectionately refer to me as Brack.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing as calling one a coach.
Sure.
So it's a term, I take it as a term of, that's okay.
That's so funny. Instead of Mac Daddy,
and
it's Brack
Katie,
Daddy.
And Casey was on one of our earlier teams. So
that's awesome. Was he a state champion also?
I think they were runner-up.
Runner-up? Mm-hmm. Wow, Casey. See, we got the top of the top in here. Why, no, just kidding. And we also had a Christy Gamble say, "Congratulations, Trojans." And then Peggy Chappell Irwin said, "So proud of our Trojan debaters. Richardrecknell, such a positive leader and influence for our debaters." So I love that. Coach Bracknell, it's so great to have you guys in the studio and to be having this conversation. In addition to the coach, or the Brack, we also have members of the team. We have Andy Herndon, right behind him there. And then we also have Javier Lopez Miranda, probably one of the coolest names I've ever heard. Actually, everybody's got great names on this team. Patrick Brazzini and Alex Seek, who is the captain. So we're actually going to go over to the captain real quick, since you are the number 2 here on the team. Alex, so as captain, what are your responsibilities primarily?
So being captain, me and Bracknell, I feel like we'll have a lot more one-on-one conversations about as far as team planning. This year, it looks a little different than captain's past, just because we live in the COVID age, and me and Bracknell, we can't really have conversations about what are we going to do when we go to New York, or what are we going to go do when we go to Boston to debate. So me and Bracknell will have a lot of conversations about what can the team do, and especially with COVID, it's been about what can the team do to kind of give back to the community. So me and Bracknell have kind of worked closely when things like the debate team, the class as a whole, all came together and wrote thank you notes to every nurse in Tanner Hospital System, things like that, community service projects, but also just giving encouraging talks to the team. I know that when this week when we had state, I went into Andy and Mark's room, who are 2 underclassmen, and we're about to go into a semifinal round or a quarterfinal round at state, and I was just like, hey, let's get it done, and then just gave them a pep talk. So it's more, I feel like, encouragement, but also, having those one-on-one conversations with Bracknell about team planning and about organizing events that we can do.
Making it about more than just the debate team,
exactly.
Going out and having positive change in the community. Well, we are talking with the Carrollton High School debate team. They are fresh off of a state championship win. We're going to take our first break, but when we come back, we will continue our conversation with Alex Sieg. He's the team captain, and then we will talk with the other members of the team about the state championship and what's their plan next. We all know they're going to be going to Disney World, I'm sure. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Travel, get-togethers, Sunday morning worship. COVID-19 has almost put a stop to our way of life. Vaccination is our best shot at getting back to normal. The COVID-19 vaccine is based on more than a decade of research. Trials show it's safe and can provide up to 95% protection when you've received both doses. Tanner is committed to making the vaccine as widely available as possible, giving you a shot at getting back to life. Until then, keep wearing your mask, washing your hands, and avoid gatherings. Learn more and get updates at tanner.org/vaccine.
Oak Mountain Academy would like to invite you to join us for our 33rd annual Spring Gala. This live virtual event will be held on Saturday, March 20th, beginning at 6 p.m. Professional superstar auctioneer Seth Weiner will be our host for the evening. Seth will guide us through the live and silent auction portions of the evening and facilitate a variety of games where the winners take home prizes. If you love a good scavenger hunt, think you can name that tune, or are a bingo champion, you won't want to miss this free event. Register today at oakmountain.us for a virtual evening of fun, games, and entertainment.
And we're back to Community Voice. I'm your host, Josh Engel, Exciting day in the studio today. We got the Carrollton High School debate team. They are the state champions, my friends. The state champions. They won the state championship title this weekend. Friday and Saturday they were competing in a virtual tournament, and they came out on top. They were discussing, one of the things they discussed was Space Force, the Guardians, discussing pros and cons from having a new military branch. And guess what? They must have been right on the mark because they won. So before we get back into our conversation with team captain Alex Sieg, I wanted to read off some comments. Clearly, this is a popular bunch because we have comments rolling in. Let's see here. We have Andrew Huggins. Congrats again, Brack. Reasonable, critical discourse is so much needed in today's culture. Thank you for championing this cause. We got Bridget Templeman. Brack coached my brother. This really is your nickname, Brack. Brack coached my brother in '87 when he won the state title. Now he's coached my son, Alec, as he brought home the trophy. What a legend. I'm guessing, is that your mom?
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Mom. We also have, Casey Hardegree came back. He said, Bracknell has done more to positively influence the young people of Carrollton more than any other individual in the Carrollton City School System. Sounds a bit biased, but I believe him. He's leaning right into it. All right, so team captain Alex Sieg. The championship. I mean, this is what you guys practice for. You guys have been training for this for some time. And how exactly do you train for this?
So one thing that we do whenever we get a new topic, like Bracknell said, we'll have a topic a month when second semester comes. So it's a lot more research needs to happen a lot faster. You need to go through arguments faster. So what we do whenever we get a new topic is we'll vet the topic, is what we call it. Is we all get together in Bracknell's room and we'll pretty much write the resolution that we'll be debating on, and then on the whiteboard we'll just get markers and just start writing arguments we think might be good to run. And so from that, we start doing research. We try to pretty much fill in the gaps. Like we'll have ideas and we'll find evidence that connects these ideas. This past week was, I know, very intense for us. We were doing all of this in the span of a week, not only just vetting the topic, but making cases and finding evidence that will be used to attack other cases and things like that. This is pretty much things that happen in a month because, a topic usually runs for a month, but because state is the first week of March, it's a brand new topic and you have to have great cases, great evidence, great ideas, pretty much all in a week, and you have to find the evidence that backs that up. So this past week, I know we were doing a lot of research after school, but also we were doing practice rounds. Like we'll do mock debate rounds just between the team, just to kind of get the debate juices flowing. You kind of get your ideas running. You kind of get in the right mindset for a debate round, and then you just kind of get ready through practicing. It's like football practice. You scrimmage. That's kind of like our scrimmage. We do practice rounds.
Nice. Now, as far as topics, so like for the championship, were you guys given the topic in advance to sort of practice it, or was it like hey, you guys have 10 minutes?
It was about halfway through February, I would say, is when they announced what the topic for March would be. So in the midst of March, though, we were getting ready for the district championship tournament that was a completely different topic for February. And so it was we knew what we would be debating, but we were in the middle of just debating something else and doing that same research process. So we knew what we would be researching, but we were in the process of something completely different.
Excellent. We're going to chat some more with the team. Andy Herndon, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
So Andy, let's talk about what you bring to the team. As you dive into these discussions, what do you feel is a strength that you bring?
Right. So on the team, I'm not a senior like these guys, but I still try to contribute whenever he said we were vetting the topics. I'm usually the guy up there on the whiteboard writing down the arguments or working with my partner and trying to get a lot of evidence for the team gathered and distributed to everybody so we can kind of all have the same access to what we are thinking about the topic and communicating with each other.
So you're the paralegal, which is great. You're just getting all this information. So you're a freshman?
I'm a junior, actually.
Junior, excellent. So what drew you towards the debate team?
Well, I haven't been in it all 3 years. I came last year because I had heard all my friends talking about how great a teacher Bracknell was, how fun it was to go to other schools and debate. But really just being in the class for maybe not even a week and seeing the older debaters, the upperclassmen, really drew me into the program. And it's just great to, as an argumentative person, get in these little battles with people and
that actually
get your ideas out.
Was one of my other questions. I was curious, what do you think, what kind of person do you think really excels in debate?
I mean, everyone likes to have arguments with other people when they think they're right. So as long as you kind of get that confidence, I think you just need to practice to be in debate. It's not a skill that you have to just naturally have. You can work on it over time and dish out your kind of thoughts on the program.
Yeah, and much like, I mean, I was making a joke about a paralegal, but, attorneys, I mean, for example, they are it's required that they bring a solid argument to whatever side of the fence they may land on regarding a subject. Is that something that you would ever consider going into, something like law or politics, or something where you could communicate your case?
Well, I don't think there's a member on the debate team who hasn't considered going into politics, and I don't think there's a way to count how many of Bracknell's previous students are right now in the law profession, but...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I've considered it. I think it would be a great opportunity, and this definitely sets you up for it. And like you said, it's not enough to be knowledgeable on one side of the topic. You always have to be able to accurately portray both sides and, have your arguments prepared, whether it be pro or con.
Are there any commentators or other large-scale debaters, anyone that you look up to?
That it's not really, a recent graduate. I couldn't name them, but people who are above me, people who I saw as a freshman and sophomore, and right now Alec and Patrick, they really, lead the path and show me what I want to do in the future when I continue the program. So.
Excellent. Well, why don't we carry the conversation over to Javier Lopez Miranda. Javier, how long have you been on the team?
4 years.
4 years?
Yes.
So you're a senior now?
Yes.
Excellent. So going into the state championship, so you guys mentioned that you break up into groups of two. Mm-hmm. So who did you break up with?
I'm with Lyle Penley. He's not in right now.
He's not here today? I got you. So how did you and Lyle approach the Space Force topic?
Well, what we did was just have practice rounds. Lyle would work on the cases, and since I'm second speaker, I would work on the refutations against the arguments. So we did that, communicated a while before, and then on the day of state, we had a lot of practice rounds with the team itself, so we were able to better familiarize ourselves with our cases and see what would we prefer. Because during the round, you'll have one or two contentions, and at some point, you're going to see which one you're winning or which one you feel more comfortable with, and that's the one that you go with. So the practice rounds really helped to see what we were doing best at and which one we should go for later on in the tournament.
So I've been curious about this just from the debate world. A lot of times, so it's a very different field, but take an actor, for example. So let's say they're on stage and they're performing a play, or if they're an improv actor or something, right? So they bounce off of the crowd, right? So if a joke's really working, they'll lean into it, or they will stretch it out, or they will figure out a way to get the most laughs out of it or the most audience engagement. Is that the case with debating? I mean, does the room at large, the judges, do you bounce off of how they react to your guys' points?
Definitely, and that's been one of the complications with COVID, because usually you'd be giving the speech in round and you'd be seeing how the judge reacts to it, but now since it's virtual, you're not really seeing the judge because you have to be on your own tab open. Instead of seeing the judge, you're just talking and you don't really see how people react. Sometimes they have their cameras turned off, so it's difficult seeing how the judge is reacting, because usually if you're doing good, they'll start nodding their head, so you're like, oh, I'm doing good, and you get better. But when you don't have any reactions at all, you're like, oh, I don't know how I'm doing.
You're just in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And you're having to do your best. That has to add a new layer of stress to everything.
Yeah.
All right, so take me through the victory. So when did you guys, so you competed on Friday and Saturday?
Yes.
When did you find out that you won?
It was the last round on Saturday when Patrick and Alec are the ones that won the final round.
Nice. So they brought it home.
Yes, so we were watching in another room, them debating, and then we just had to go through seeing who, because there's a 3-judge panel, and
Sure.
it was tied 1-1, and then we're like, who's going to be the other one that votes?
How did you celebrate?
We all yelled. Bracknell came into the room happy, of course.
The Brack, yeah.
Yes.
He came in there.
Yeah.
Excellent,
It was a
excellent.
good experience.
That is so great. Well, Javier, congratulations.
Thank
Seriously, to the whole team. So we're going to take our second break, but before we come back, I just wanted to mention real quick some other comments that have come in. Clearly, the BRAC is very popular. We have a CC Miranda, great debate team, and Mr. Bracknell is an amazing coach, an awesome person, and a blessing for them. And then Jason Berzini. Brack taught me how to properly communicate. I will be forever grateful. And I think that is really a theme of the show, communication. It is important to communicate thoroughly and thoughtfully and critically, and we're sitting in a room full of folks that are going to be carrying those skills out into the world, and we're thankful for that. So we're going to take our next break, but before we come back, when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with the Carrollton High School debate team, Coach Richardrecknell, and the team members here, so stay with us.
Travel, get-togethers, Sunday morning worship. COVID-19 has almost put a stop to our way of life. Vaccination is our best shot at getting back to normal. The COVID-19 vaccine is based on more than a decade of research. Trials show it's safe and can provide up to 95% protection when you've received both doses. Tanner is committed to making the vaccine as widely available as possible, giving you a shot at getting back to life. Until then, keep wearing your mask, washing your hands, and avoid gatherings. Learn more and get updates at tanner.org/vaccine.
Oak Mountain Academy would like to invite you to join us for our 33rd annual Spring Gala. This live virtual event will be held on Saturday, March 20th, beginning at 6 p.m. Professional superstar auctioneer Seth Weiner will be our host for the evening. Seth will guide us through the live and silent auction portions of the evening and facilitate a variety of games where the winners take home prizes. If you love a good scavenger hunt, think you can name that tune, or are a bingo champion, you won't want to miss this free event. Register today at oakmountain.us for a virtual evening of fun, games, and entertainment.
And we're back to Community Voice. I am your host, Josh Engel. We got the Carrollton High School debate team, the state champion debate team. Excuse me. Should definitely get that right. They're the state champions this weekend. They brought home the gold, and now they're celebrating with me here in the studio. If you're just tuning in, be sure to check out the Facebook Live of this episode. You want to listen to the whole episode because it's been very informative. I've definitely learned a lot about what it's like to be on a debate team. Sounds like a lot of stress, but just, hey, it goes to show how hard they've worked for this. But we're chatting with the whole team, so definitely pick back up and watch the whole episode. We got Coach Richardrecknell, and we have team members Andy Herndon, Javier Lopez Miranda, Patrick Brazzini, as well as the captain of the team, Alex Seek. So before we move over to Patrick, Javier, I did want to ask you one question. We were talking about prospective careers where utilizing these skills might come in handy. Do you have a particular career that you're looking into?
I've been looking into majoring in finance. Mostly, it all started when I was a freshman, and especially through debate. I've always liked the economic topics a lot more. Like freshman year, we debated capital gains tax, and that was one that I really liked and I did really well in.
Sure.
So ever since then, I've been looking more into majoring in finance or something related to that.
Wow, congratulations. Well, everybody stay real close to him because he's probably going to end up being super rich. So let's move it over to Patrick. Patrick, good morning, my man.
Good morning.
Thank you again for coming on the program and talking about this win. So, so tell me a bit about your experience at the championship.
Well, part of that is the week leading up to the state championship because we have our districts tournament at the end of February. That's a different topic, like Alec was saying earlier. But then the week leading into state, you're working on a new topic. So I think that Tuesday, we're there till 6 or 7. Wednesday, same thing. Thursday, same thing. And then we come in Friday, and the first round's not till 4, but we spend that entire day preparing once again. That's mostly just practice rounds and doing what casework you can do. But when it comes to casework, especially for this topic, and it surprised me because it was about the Space Force, but I've noticed with PF debate, all arguments somehow land on climate change and COVID now. And of course, Alec and I were running arguments that centered around climate change and COVID. Because, judges hear that and their ears perk up and they listen.
Sure.
But I was really nervous because it is my last tournament on the Georgia circuit and it's your last opportunity to win state. But I was happy to see that we didn't lose a round and just went through the tournament pretty much a clean sweep, I think.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
That is amazing. Okay, so I love that. So you guys have that strategy. You know what the topics typically end up landing on. Is that just usually the case? Like you kind of know where folks are going to drift towards?
If you can, Brack will tell you this over and over. There are 4 parts of an argument. There's claim, warrant, data, impact. If you can impact out to climate change, you affect the most people. You can weigh that argument the most heavily.
Yeah, hot topics.
And if you impact out the COVID, well, everybody's listening to you because everybody's been affected by it.
We were all living it. So that's something that folks can be personally invested in. And as someone communicating a point, that is essential. Mm-hmm. So what kind of career would you possibly look into? And again, no pressure because no one really needs to know what they want to do for the first few years anyway. But do you guys have ideas?
I do. Partially because of Bracknell and the impact he's had on me, I'd love to be a teacher, I like the idea of simplifying things. That's why I like debate so much. I feel like, especially when you have a judge who's just somebody's parent who got pushed into judging at their kid's debate tournament, you have to take really complicated ideas and simplify them. And I think Brack does a good job of that when he speaks, and I try to do a good job of that when I debate. And that's part of what gravitates, or part of what attracts me to teaching.
I see. Now, clearly, just from speaking, you're very clear, concise, and eloquent with how you talk to people. What do you feel is the most important element of communication?
I don't know. I don't think you can boil it down to one thing. Because I think if you look at any good communicator, they have a lot of different ways of getting to people. I think probably the biggest part of communication is what Brack was talking about earlier with listening.
Sure.
Is actually being able to sit there and listen to people without thinking about how you're going to respond, but just trying to synthesize information and ask questions from there. I think communication's ultimate objective is going to be to understand people if it's one-on-one, in which case you need to be prying at them in a way in order to understand, therefore, in order to understand how to communicate with them as well.
Well, now I see why you guys are the state champions. Here it is, right here, live. I'm convinced. Well, let's bring it back over to Coach Richardrecknell. We only have about 3.5 to 4 minutes left. I wanted to wrap this up, with some final thoughts from you. Any thoughts on the future of the team?
Oh, the team at Carrollton High School, I think, is here to stay. I think they will tell you that Mr. Brooks is always kind of there. He's the current principal, David Brooks. He is very supportive of the team and the effort. And to me personally, the Carrollton Board of Education has recognized that the importance of athletics as well as academics, and I think that was one reason they were stressing getting an academic team in. And I think that the program, whether you realize it or not, probably one of the most important things you can learn is how to communicate. Because you don't live in a vacuum. You either got to your next door neighbor or whatever. So I think the future of communication, the future of debate, discourse, I think that every school should have that as a heart of their curriculum. Because what better thing can you teach a young person than to how to listen and how to resolve issues, and in a lot better ways than sometimes the politicians are showing us.
Casey Hardegree says empathy with an exclamation point. Do you agree?
I think so. I definitely do. Teaching empathy, understanding where a person is coming from, or why they feel the way they are, it's key. All of us want. I think oftentimes when you get in some of these crazy battles you see on Facebook, I think it's people who simply want to be heard and they want to be valued. So I think that if you go through debate, you are valuing another person's opinion. If you listen to Patrick's explanation, he mapped it out beautifully. Listen, and don't go in it with predetermined ideas. Listen and then evaluate and make decisions based on legitimate reasons and logic.
Well, we'll wrap up there. We'll wrap up actually with a comment here from Leslie McPherson. She says, "State champions, that's quite an accomplishment. Congratulations, guys. I know it doesn't happen without a good coach as well, and the proof is right here in the studio." So, Coach Brack, thank you for bringing the team in here. And team, thank you guys for coming in. Congratulations again. And, hey, at home, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.